Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you have had a lovely week, and I hope you're looking forward to an even better weekend, everybody. This is a members chat class. That means you need to be a member of our YouTube channel to join the chat. But of course, everybody is welcome to watch. Welcome, Constellation. Hi, Angel, Anahita, Fuang, Chayani, Domenico, Lydia. Good to have you all with me here today. That is fantastic. Students, in this lesson, we are looking at IELTS reading. Now, this reading is reading about the cruise ship industry. And in fact, this reading is coming from, believe it or not, General IELTS. But it is a section 3 of the General IELTS, which means that it's basically the same as the reading passages of the academic. You're going to notice that, oh, that just looks like an academic IELTS reading passage. And that's very, very true. So the last reading of the General IELTS is basically the same. You have one passage, it's a little bit more challenging text. You've got 12 to 13 questions made up of about 3 to 4 different sets. You can have true, false, not given, matching paragraphs. You're looking at pretty much the same information. So here, it's reading about the cruise ship industry. Now, this material, these lessons, they're brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the lessons that power these live classes. That means our audio materials, reading materials, our tools for speaking with our viewers are all found on these websites. So do yourself a favor, visit the website. This is aehelp.com, especially if you watch these lessons regularly. Click the big red button, join the premium version of the course, get all the materials for studying in these live classes, as well as when we're not having these live classes, so between the live classes. So click that big red button that's just right above my head there. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. It's not a subscription model. We don't believe in getting you to pay again and again. Just pay once, then learn until you pass the IELTS exam. When you click on that big red button, you can enter the code fluid9. That's because we want you to be fluent and fluid with your English, and it's coming from our most recent video. So you apply that code, and that code now works, unlike yesterday. And then you're off to the races. This is the general IELTS. It's the green background. We like to separate general and academic. It's kind of a different group of people. One's for university, one's more for immigration. And also the reading and the writing section are fairly different. So it makes sense to separate out these two versions of the IELTS into two websites. And again, you just click that big red button there. We are an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. I'm a British Council agent. We're an IELTS test registration center. We are world leaders when it comes to IELTS exam preparation, and that is shown by just how many students have succeeded with our courses. And we are so proud to have many of these students featured on our website. So check that out, students, and begin learning for success. Now, on to the reading. Just real quick, if you have questions, send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com, admin@aehelp.com. Any IELTS questions about English, grammar, let us know. We're here to help. And of course, we've got lots of lessons for you this week. By the way, there is a Task 2 Writing subscriber chat class coming up after this class. So that'll be at in about 2 hours. And it's a good idea to subscribe to the channel. It's free. Okay, so here's a video to help you with your speaking. We released this last week. I'm looking at a lot of good timing for that too. Lots of congratulations there in the chat with the members. Looks like something good is happening. Let me take a look at that in just a moment. All right, and then we'll get into some reading strategies here. Let's see, Dylan, what's going on? Dylan, hello, people. Hello, Dylan. Dylan says, I have my results. Listening 8, reading 7.5, writing 6, speaking 7, overall 7. And then that's great. Dylan says, writing is a bit low, but I'm going to work in the UK in any case. Yeah, I mean, you'll get the hang of the writing bit, Dylan. And you know, Dylan, if you want to improve your writing, we're still here. We're not going anywhere. You can keep sending us your writing for review and feedback and assessment. Keep working on it. Writing is a good skill to have. So that's lovely. All right. Well, Dylan, congratulations. Dylan, can you please send me an email? I would love to get your testimonial. So when you have a minute, Dylan, okay, just if you could send me a pic and a testimonial to admin@aehelp.com. I would love to have it. Thank you, Dylan. I see it. You said I will, sir. That's awesome. Welcome to our chat moderator, Alexi. Good to have you here with us, Alexi. All right. So, students, into the reading we dive. Here we go. Remember that lesson on English and German? English, you can put the verb anywhere. Into the reading we dive. A little bit of old English there for you. Okay, reading strategies. What's your first strategy? Many members should know this now. So step 1. We did a bit of reading last week as well. I always start with this strategy. You should just know it and use it. It's really important. Some students don't. Actually, many students don't do this. They just they're in a rush. Don't rush, okay? That's just a tip. It's not well, you could call it a strategy, but I'm just going to say tip. Don't rush, okay? It's steady. You have to move at a steady pace, but don't rush. Rushing is not good. We have these sayings like, don't be hasty. Okay, rushing leads to mistakes. I see it too many times in the reading section where students are flipping pages in the paper-based exam, or they're clicking around like crazy. It's not an Instagram profile. The goal is not to click to as many places as you can. It's to go step by step, and don't be hasty. Don't rush. Chayani says, read the title. Anahita says, read the title carefully. Yes, absolutely. The title is a summation of the passage, right? And there is a lot of information that you can deduce from the title. So read the title, and you're right, Alexi, visualize it. So read the title, visualize it, gather information from your head. Okay, that's basically it. You're absolutely right. And so here we've got this title, and it's a good one. It's a good one to visualize. This is a nice here, let me bring that down a little bit. This is a nice one to visualize. It's very much kind of a visible, very visual type of title, right? So it says the cruise ship industry. Well, when you live in Victoria, where I live, it's even more visible, just simply because we have a lot of cruise ships come through here. I bet you there are cruise ships right now sitting in our harbor downtown, probably 2 or 3 of them. So some places maybe not as much, but hey, if you live in a coastal town where you see cruise ships, yep, definitely. All right. So Let's do this. Let's visualize it. So when you visualize the cruise ship industry, what do you see? Excuse me. Domenico, I think you probably see cruise ships, right? Sicily, I bet you Sicily gets a few cruise ships in the year. I know Venice sure does, or did before COVID. When I was there, oh man, I've never seen that many cruise ships in one place like Venice. Okay, so what do you see? The cruise ship, because being able to visualize and see the picture clearly and see the information clearly will really help you when you're reading and answering. The cruise ship industry. Okay. All right. What do you see? Lydia says massive tourism business, but Lydia, you can't see that. You can't really, that's not something that you can visualize. It has to be something that you can visualize. It has to be an image. I shouldn't even say something. It has to be an image that you can actually like see, right? So, you know, when you say, Lydia, massive tourism business, it kind of makes me worried, because how do you visualize that in itself? It's not really visible. Anahita says people building those in a specific area. Okay, who are those people, Anahita? Fuang says ships passengers. All right, looks like we need to review this a little bit. Let's do this. All right, let's review this. Let's talk about what is good visualization. That matters, okay? It really is important on how you visualize. So there are 3 important steps to good visualization. Okay. Firstly, see the image clearly. Okay. Picture a massive 300-meter long Norwegian cruise ship with 8 levels, 4 swimming pools on the upper deck. Okay. All right. So you see the image clearly. That is so you can understand. Okay, when you see images clearly, you start to understand the concept. Okay. Step number 2. I say this quite a bit. What is it? What do you think is another important step of visualization, of good visualization, when you're reading, when you're going for those high band scores, when your brain is working at 110%, and you're doing active reading? Chayani, I like it. Chayani says you see some lifeboats as well. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. That's detail. Chayani, I like it. Yeah, Anahita, very good. Include yourself. Okay, so include yourself. Okay. You're the captain. The El Capitan. You are the captain of this massive cruise ship. You have a nice white uniform with a captain's hat. Why do you have to do this step? Why do you have to put yourself in the image? So when you're visualizing this, when you're seeing yourself there, why do you have to do that? Okay. Yeah, see, Domenico, I thought you would, for sure. Chayani is Rose with Jack in the Titanic. Oh, Chayani, you're a romantic, and that's a good way to be. Yeah, absolutely, Alexi. It helps to keep information in the mind, or simply put, it's to help you remember information. Okay, one of the most common complaints I get from a lot of IELTS learners is, I read it, I understand it, I get to the questions, I forget all of the information I read. Your brain didn't hold it because it's disinterested. It's like, cruise ship industry, I'm not a big boat guy, I don't go on cruise ships, why am I reading this? The brain thinks about this, right? So the brain is just like, so we basically have to trick the brain into remembering information that we read. And a really good way to trick the brain is to make it participate. Say, oh, but you're the captain, don't crash the cruise ship. Right? Okay? Yeah, you empathize with the situation, absolutely, so you remember it. Okay? And then there's one final step. What's that last step? So you see the image clearly, you include yourself, and as the last step, what do? Anybody? Make it interesting. Okay, Alexi says, read carefully. Make it interesting. I am docking in Sicily, right? Where I am waving to Domenico, my good friend, who I am going to visit for a couple of days while the tourists enjoy the local culture. Okay. And I am going to make sure that I do not crash like that other Italian captain. All right. Okay. Chayani says, fun reading. Absolutely. So make it interesting in some way, right? Make it your own. So when you visualize this, right? And you're thinking, oh man, only 20 minutes for the reading. How do I do this? Well, the brain is fast. So if you know what you're doing and you know that you need to see it clearly, include yourself, make it interesting, you can do this really fast. Like we're talking in seconds, okay? So keep that in mind for all of you critics out there. With practice, of course, it's always practice, right? With practice at home before the test, you should be able to do these steps in a matter of 10 seconds. And it's the best 10 seconds that you will invest into your reading score. Okay? All right. Alexi, you'll be fine. 20 days is plenty of time to practice this kind of a strategy. Okay? All right. Yeah. About that Italian captain, if you want an interesting read about the Italian captain that crashed a cruise ship. That'll help you get interested in this kind of reading. I think about 10 years ago that story happened. It's probably big news. Domenico, you probably still remember it because it was, I think it happened. Maybe it wasn't in Italy. The captain, I think, was Italian. But anyway, yeah. How do you crash a cruise ship, right? Okay. So, and he crashed it into a town, by the way. So it wasn't like another boat or something. It was a town. He crashed into a village. Domenico says, yeah, that was the big news. Okay, so here we go, everybody. Cruise ship, visualize, you're there. By the way, when you're at home, you can even draw some pictures, right? So you can, draw that cruise ship. You even got your lifeboats, okay? And then in the front, you have Chayani with Jack. Okay. And there you are. You are the captain in the hall of the bridge, I should say. It's called the bridge of the ship where the captain is. So there you are. Does that all fit? Yep. Okay. So Chayani, Jack, captain. Visualize it. Okay. There's even yes, you're doing the scene out of Titanic, Chayani. I drew that. You're not falling into the water. You're just doing the scene. Okay. All right. So good. See, you're having fun now. Angel's laughing. That's good. It means you will remember what you read. Fantastic. Your brain is engaged. All right. Let's do it. So, here we go. The cruise ship industry. I'm going to look at the questions real quick. Let's do that. Okay, that's step 2. So once you've visualized, step 2, look at the questions. Read the ones that have information which is in the text. Here we go. Reading passage 1 has 7 paragraphs, A to G. Which paragraph contains the following information? Everybody read with me, whether you're a member in the chat or you're just watching. Read with me. This is reading. Listening is okay. Take an extra step. Read. Okay. Note, by the way, you may use any letter more than once. 28. Statistics concerning the increase in tourists during cruise ship season. Okay, so statistics. The decline of local culture in favor of homogeneous items. The advantages for travelers taking a cruise. The productive advantages of the industry. The ethical question facing prospective cruise ship riders. Okay, now you want to paraphrase these. I'm going to forego that step, but at home, try paraphrasing these, okay? All right, then we've got a summary completion. Complete the summary below. Write your answers in boxes 33 to 36 on your answer sheet. Cruise ship industry drawbacks, so negatives, right? Drawbacks means negatives, the downside. All right. The greatest drawback to the cruise ship industry is its impact on the blank. Not only do cruise ships dump garbage, fuel, and human waste into the water, they also do this, the carbon footprint of people, the moment they step upon a ship. Okay. This is also a massive concern as it can be the same as the most polluted places in the world. A complicating factor is the something of the cruise ship clientele, since older individuals are more susceptible to damaging particles in the air. Okay, 37 to 40, I can see just by looking at it, it's multiple choice. Multiple choice questions, I do not read the choices because it's a lot of extra and unnecessary information and it's confusing. I just read the actual questions themselves. Okay, here we go. What is the share of air pollution in port cities that cruise ships cause? What is a main concern of cities like Dubrovnik? Which is a key impact of cruise ships with respect to public health? Which of the following phrases best describes the main aim of reading passage 3? Now, this type of question, the main aim, tells you that I have to read this reading passage. It is extremely difficult, if not impossible, to get a lot of these answers correct by just skimming and scanning. Maybe the summary question, but the rest of them, not so much. Okay, so you have to read here. There's no question about it. So let's do it. I'm going to read, and then I will have the members read. We will interact. We'll do the questions together. Okay, and again, visualize, because I will be asking you what you see when you read these paragraphs. Okay, Here we go, everyone. Oh, and by the way, students, before we jump into the reading here, on the website, go to your My Student account, okay, when you have some time, especially for those of you who have the premium course. Go to the full online academic course and look at this part here, the key strategies lessons, okay? Because here you're going to see, for instance, this concept of visualization, okay? So here it is, right? What is visualization? And then it's going to explain that and go through all of the different steps of visualization. So it's in your course along with all of the other ones. Habibi, welcome to our group of members. Send me an email so I can hook you up with those perks. Okay, I see that you joined. Thank you. All right. So that is in your premium. Okay, let's do this. Let's read. Here we go, everybody. Read with me. Okay, so follow with me. Read with me. The cruise ship industry. The cruise ship industry is an incredibly popular source of leisure and an economic powerhouse, yet it has come under attack in recent years for its environmental, social, and health impacts. Though many people enjoy a week or two on the seas regularly, more and more people are recognizing the negatives associated with this activity and are choosing more environmentally responsible options for their leisure activities. In 2017, almost 26 million passengers took part in a cruise. Among the many routes that the major companies run, the Caribbean, Mediterranean, South Pacific, Alaska, and many others. These adventures offer patrons a relaxing and hassle-free holiday. Moreover, tourists can see a wide variety of ports of call on a single voyage. For example, a guest aboard a Caribbean cruise may visit more than a half dozen countries on a single cruise. For people who want a brief taste of various nations and cultures without having to fully immerse themselves, a cruise is an appealing option. Remember, you're that captain. Maybe you're cruising around the Caribbean. The economic impact of the cruise ship industry is immense. In 2017, it accounted for roughly 100 billion British pounds in economic activity and another 35 billion in employee salaries. In addition, a single landing in a port creates an economic impact of more than £500,000 for the city being visited. Clearly, the cruise ship industry is an engine of productivity, both in its employment and economic impact upon the cities and towns it visits. While the economic advantages of the cruise ship industry are obvious, there are also a number of negatives associated with the industry. Foremost among these is the environmental impact of the industry. For example, a person's carbon footprint, a measure of environmental impact, triples the moment a person steps aboard a cruise ship. Cruise ships are notorious for dumping garbage, fuel, and human waste directly into the seas and oceans they traverse. These ships also consume some of the dirtiest fuel in the world, and this leads to astonishingly high levels of pollution in the cruise ship's surroundings and also in their immediate vicinity. One study found that air quality on the upper deck of a cruise ship is similar to that of the world's most polluted cities. Health impacts from exposure are numerous and are complicated by the cruise ships industry's generally older client base, cruises are most popular among those ages 65 plus. Cruise ship pollution also greatly affects the port cities the vessels visit. For example, the city of Marseille in France is a popular port for Mediterranean cruises. Fully 10% of air pollution in the city can be attributed to the cruise ships that lie in port every day of the year. Citizens of cities such as Marseille protest the negative health effects of the cruise ships' environmental impacts, as well as their impacts on the social environment of the cities. Cities like Dubrovnik in Croatia, which has a population of about 40,000 people, can see its numbers swell by over 50% with the visit of up to 5 cruise ships in the town at one time. This results in a crush of tourists in the old and scenic part of town, and the displacement of culture in favor of shops and services that cater to foreign tourists. While proponents of the industry claim that cruise ships bring economic prosperity to communities like Dubrovnik, city critics say that local culture is being hollowed out by the economic pressures associated with the industry. One particular example is the loss of local cuisine in Old Town Dubrovnik. Instead of featuring Croatian specialties, restaurants offer nondescript Western foods such as pasta, pizza, hamburgers, and other dishes familiar to Western European tourists. One of the key impacts of cruise ships is their health impact on their own guests. Cruise ships can act as incubators for disease. Among the most common conditions on cruise ships is the norovirus, which is massively contagious and can affect a large percentage of cruise ship passengers in a short time. With so many people so close together, cruise ships are a haven for germs, both bacterial and viral. In summary, the cruise ship industry is complicated. It has clear benefits, positive economic impacts for its employees and ports of call, but it also has clear negatives: environmental destruction, cultural losses for ports of call, diseases on board, and negative health impacts from its air pollution. If given the opportunity, should you go on a cruise? The answer is up to you. But it is clear you should take into account all of the impacts, both positive and negative, the industry has. All right. Hopefully all of you were reading. And now we'll let our members read and answer some questions based on this, and I will guide you. I will be asking you questions like, what is the paragraph about? What do you see? So we're going to improve reading comprehension, understanding. If you have questions about words, by the way, you'll have a chance to ask me too about vocabulary. So we'll target comprehension, coherence, vocabulary, and strategy all in one. You see me putting my headphones on. That's right, everybody, because we are going to hear our members here. So to do this, Alexi, if you could be kind enough to put the instructions into the chat. I'm just going to copy the URL here. You need to first, everybody watching, go to aehelp.com. Now, for those of you who are non-members just watching, do this also. So go to the website, sign up for free, use the demo version if you're not sure yet, but definitely get going, because there are live classes where, you know, it's not just members and premium users, but we give everybody a chance. Romelia, you got to send me that email. I just don't see the email from you. I would love to chat to you about becoming a moderator. Please send me the email. I'm not sure what's going on, but yeah. All right. So Alexi has the instructions in there, and this is what we do. So we go to the website, we go to our My Student account. You can join again the premium version by clicking that big red button. Okay, it's worth it. It's a good investment of your money for sure. Spend a few dollars, save a lot. It's always a smart move. Spend a little, save a lot, make a lot. Spend on education, all those wisdoms. All right, and then you're in your My Student account. There it is. Now, you notice that we have, that full online course that I activated, and then you've got, your lesson videos, and we've got actually audio for a lot of reading as well. So check that out for those of you who have access, the audio for the reading. And then we have the computer-based IELTS practice exams, and here we have this a student partner speaking. Right there. Click on that. Okay. Once you're there, you will see a list of your peers. Dalvir, Vlad, Pratam, Chayani, Gopu. Good to see you all in here. Now, this is a members chat class, and of course, we're always paying attention to premium students as well. So, and those of you who are both, well, double thumbs up. That's one awesome way to improve your English and your IELTS score, right? Be a member of the channel and a premium member of our website. So here you can volunteer. Volunteering, just look for me. I will be in here as master. And then send me a notification. Gopu has, Lydia has. Now, Lydia, I know that yesterday you missed your opportunity. So I'm going to start with Lydia, who's one of our members. And Lydia, I said I would come back and speak with you, but you weren't there. So Lydia, let's start with you today. Are you ready? I remembered after Lydia. I'm like, oh, I forgot to go back to Lydia. Are you ready, Lydia? Well, I'm going back to you now. Okay. So Lydia, if you're there, which I'm guessing you are, since you just messaged me, then let's do this. Okay.
Hello, Mr. Adrian. Can
Hi,
you hear me?
Lydia. I can. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? It
I
is such a pleasure to talk to you live, actually.
Yeah, and sorry about not coming back to you yesterday after I
No, it's
figure out the
fine. It's fine.
microphone there.
Sure.
So, is this the first time we're talking, Lydia?
Yes, actually, it is the first time, but I was one of the participants 2 years ago. So I got overall band 7 in the IELTS exam for my undergraduate, which is bachelor degree. So I'm actually planning to take my master's degree after like 7 months, roughly.
Okay, and I'm hearing quite a bit of improvement in your English. So, have you been using English lots in your bachelor's?
Yeah, it is like all the degrees, master's, PhD, and also the bachelors are in English taught. So I'm actually studying in the United Arab Emirates University, and my major is speech language pathology.
Nice. Okay, great. That is fantastic, Lydia. That's so awesome. It's always so encouraging for me when I have one of our students or viewers like yourself who is here for a long period of time, and I see that progression in your English and in your life and in your education. That's awesome. That's great.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Okay, Lydia. So let's do this. Let's get into it. Cruise ship
Yeah,
industry.
sure.
Okay. Have you ever been on a cruise ship?
No, I've never been,
Okay.
unfortunately.
All right. Have you seen some cruise ships?
Also, the answer is no.
No. Okay. So
No.
one of these days, I'm sure it's hard. They're hard to miss. They're big boats. So when you're in a port city, you'll see them. Okay, Lydia. So regardless, you want to visualize. So even though you might not have seen one in real life, I'm sure you have an idea of what these are. You want to visualize them. You're the captain. You have your captain's hat. I have the passage up on the screen now, so you should see it through YouTube. Whenever you're ready, just go ahead and read it, including the title. So start with the title.
Yeah, sure, Mr. The cruise ship industry. The cruise ship industry is an incredibly popular source of leisure and an economic powerhouse. Yet it has come under attack in recent years for its environmental, social, and health impacts. Though many people enjoy a week or two on the seas regularly, more and more people are recognizing the negatives associated with this activity and are choosing more environmentally responsible options for their leisure activities. In 2017, almost 26 million passengers took part in a cruise. Among the many routes that the major companies run, the Caribbean, Mediterranean, South Pacific, and South Pacific, Alaska, and many others. These adventures offer patrons a relaxing and hassle-free holiday. Moreover, tourists can see a wide variety of ports of call on a single voyage. For example, a guest abroad a Caribbean cruise may visit more than a half dozen countries on a single cruise. For people who want a brief taste of various nations and cultures without having to fully immerse themselves, a cruise is an appealing option.
Great. That is fantastic. Nice reading, nice speed. So, for everybody watching in the IELTS, I get this question like, how fast do I need to read? So, the speed that Lydia was reading is actually on the high end. You don't actually need to read that quite that fast. The goal is comprehension. So you have to balance speed with how much you understand. And of course, in the IELTS, Lydia, you're reading silently. Don't read aloud, or they'll throw you out. but the speed is, it's important to read with a decent speed. However, it's also important to read with intonation, even in your internal voice. So and Lydia, you did a good job here with intonation. What I mean is you need to read punctuations like periods and commas. So what tends to happen, Lydia, when people read silently is they read like this. The cruise ship industry is an incredibly popular source of leisure and economic powerhouse, yet it has come under attack in recent years for its environmental, social, and health impacts. Though many people enjoy a week or two on the seas regularly, more and more people are recognizing the negatives associated. So they just keep going and going and going and going, right? And there's no dots, no periods, nothing. They're just trying to get through it. That's not a good idea. So when you're reading quietly, you want to read the same way that you just did, Lydia, where you stop, half stop at commas, full stop at periods, and so forth. Does that make sense, Lydia?
Yes, Mr.
Right? Because pacing helps us to create images in our head. When you read this, Lydia, so when you read this paragraph, what did you actually see? So what were the images that were created in your mind?
I believe that the facilities that the cruise ship can offer for large number of passengers, so different leisure activities or facilities.
Okay, here's an important question, Lydia, and this is a good question to think about when you're reading, and whatever that might be. So that could be, related to languages in your university studies. It's the same concept that you can use there as well. So the first question that should be in your head when you read a sentence, a paragraph, or an entire chapter or an entire book is, who are you? So when you read this paragraph, who are you? Who are you in the image?
A guest or a tourist.
Okay, so you have to be certain here. Okay, this is very important, everyone, that when you include yourself, you have to be a clear participant, right? It's not like TV where we see actors in the distance. It's more like theater. You're partaking, right? That's the magic of literature, is that you become the hero. You become the captain of the cruise ship, right? That's how you engage the text to be active reading. So if you're a guest on this ship, you have to be a specific guest. Like you have to be this billionaire that's on the princess that's on this cruise ship, and you have the nicest suite, and now you're visiting all these countries in the Caribbean, like you're going to Jamaica, and you're going to other places, right? Costa Rica, etc. So you have to participate, right? You have to actively participate, and then you can connect the information to who you are. Does that make sense, Lydia?
Yes, so can I say that I'm just a regular person who's looking for some activities to like spend during the leisure time?
That's okay. However, do remember that important step in good visualization where you have to make it interesting, right? So, by giving your character a personality, so being more than just the extras in the movie, right? So you don't want to be one of those thousand zombies in the movie. You want to be the main character, like the hero or somebody special in the, because that will help you to relate and recall information. Okay, so just being one
Mm.
of the many thousands of tourists doesn't let your brain really get excited about it. So it's better to be that rich tourist that's, spending a bunch of money in the casino, or you can be the dance instructor that's teaching everybody salsa on the cruise ship, right? Now, some people are like, how do you think about that? Like, how do you think about being a dance instructor on a cruise ship? Right? It takes practice. So when you practice becoming the characters, then your brain becomes quite capable of figuring this out. Does that make sense?
Yes, mister.
Okay, so become that dance instructor on the cruise ship that's teaching people salsa, those activities that they enjoy, and then while the cruise ship docks at these port cities, then you're enjoying the local culture that you're visiting there. Okay, now next question, Lydia, real quick here. What is the main goal of this introduction?
Um, okay, just give me a moment, mister.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for leisure activities, including, for example, exploring nations and cultures.
Yes, and so that's part of it.
But yeah, but like on the sea, like for by like cruise ship.
Yes, it's part of it. So here, um, if we look at the very first sentence, the cruise ship industry is an incredibly popular source of leisure and economic powerhouse, yet it has come under attack in recent years for its environmental, social, and health impacts. So here when I'm visualizing, and this is why that visualization, everybody, is so important, because if I'm the captain and I'm, navigating my cruise ship and I'm like, oh, everybody's having so much fun, it's a party, look at all those people doing salsa, and we're visiting this beautiful place in Jamaica, and everybody's doing great, but I'm also throwing garbage out the window and chocolate wrappers into the ocean. So then I can connect this and realize that here what the introduction is saying in a simple, concise way is that the cruise ship industry has some very clear positive and negative impacts for humans and nature. That's basically what it's saying, okay, in the
Mm.
introduction. So why is that important? Because that tells me that the rest of this passage will be going into details about these points. Are you following with me here, Lydia?
Yes, yes, yes.
Right?
It's clear.
So that's why you want to do this, because when you visualize yourself as the salsa instructor and after every salsa class you throw dance shoes into the ocean, then you start to connect that positive and that negative. Okay, so really try this, Lydia. Give it a chance. Really try these strategies when you're looking at these passages and also when you're doing your schoolwork. And you will suddenly realize that you can spend a lot less time reading your textbooks and remembering a lot of the information much better without having to write down so many notes and doing so much underlining and circling. Okay?
Yes, certainly, mister.
All right. Lydia, thank you so much for starting off the reading, and I hope to have you back again, okay?
Thank you so much, Mr. Adrian.
You're very welcome. Bye for now, Lydia.
Bye bye, mister.
All right. That was Lydia. That was great. Give her a thumbs up. Fantastic reading. Yeah. Alexi says she is band 8 plus, definitely. Yes, Lydia is definitely very solid in reading. No question about it. Okay, I think so Chayani did not have a chance in the last couple sessions, so let's give her a chance. Chayani, are you ready? And I think Chayani's dying to read here a little bit because I have a feeling that in secret Chayani has always wanted to be Rose on the Titanic. So let's give Chayani a chance to be Rose. Okay, we don't want to deprive her of this opportunity. Chayani,
Hello, Adrian.
hi Chayani, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
I am doing quite well. Thank you for asking. Indonesia gets a few cruise ships in the year, does it not?
Yes, it is because this is like around 10,000 of island, I guess. So there's like many of the cruises.
Many places to go for those cruise ships, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Have you seen some?
Yeah, I have seen, but I have never been.
Okay. Always finish that sentence, Jenny. So yes, I have seen some, but I have never been on one. Try it one more time. Have you ever seen some?
Yes, I have seen, but I have never been one of them.
Okay, yeah, so your object, right? Yes, I have seen some of them, but I've never been on one. Okay. Chayani, but you have seen the Titanic, right? By the sounds
Yes,
of
I have watched.
it. More than once?
Yes, I can tell.
I knew it, Chayani. Truth be told, I've seen it twice myself. But here we go. Okay, Chayani, let's get into it. So visualize, be Rose. It's you, it's your character. Read paragraph B whenever you're ready. It's on screen.
Okay, so the economic impact of the cruise ship industry is immense. In 2017, it accounted for roughly 100 billion pounds sterling in economic activity, another 35 billion pounds sterling in employing salaries. In addition, a single landing in a port creates an economic impact of more than £500,000 for the city being visited. Clearly, the cruise ship industry is an engine of productivity, both in its employment and economic impact upon the city and town it visits.
Excellent. Chayani, what do you see here when you read this paragraph B?
Mm, I think I am the one of the businessmen who creates this cruise ship.
Okay, it's not bad. Now, here's an interesting point. So my recommendation when you're visualizing is stay the same character whenever possible. So if you are Rose on the Titanic, and that's how you start, and for example, let's say that you read this introduction that Lydia read, and you're Rose and you're visiting, New York and Miami. That's kind of where the Titanic was going. Then you're seeing those, but there's also a lot of garbage, especially with those big smoking chimneys that the Titanic had. So there's a lot of pollution. So you get that for the first paragraph, the introduction. And then when you read B, you should stay Rose. So you're still Rose. And Rose, she was rich, right? So she was a very wealthy passenger aboard the Titanic. So you can see yourself here, Chayani, like you're Rose. And yes, I'm going to do a drawing of Rose and Chayani. So this is you. And basically here, what you should be seeing is that you have money bags. So you're rich, you're full of money, and you're part of this cruise ship industry, and you are running around basically just throwing money wherever you go, because there is a lot of cash going around in this cruise ship industry, right? So money is just flying everywhere. That's what you should see. You don't need to see too much more. You're on the boat and you're spending a lot of money. You suddenly get to one of these ports, New York, and now you're in New York and you're spending money. You're just throwing it at people. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so stay with Rose. Be Rose. All right. So obviously that body paragraph is about the massive amount of money. So it's not a small impact, right? It's a massive amount of currency or money that changes hands with the cruise ship industry. Keep reading. C. It's up for you now.
Okay. Okay. It's with Billy.
6 seconds.
All right. While the economic advantages of the cruise ship industry are obvious, there are also a number of negatives associated with the industry. Foremost among these, the environmental impact of the industry. For example, a person's carbon footprint. a measure of environmental impact, triples the moment a person steps aboard a cruise ship. Cruise ships are notorious for dumping garbage, food, and human waste directly into the seas and oceans they traverse. These ships also consume some of the dirtiest fuel in the world, and this leads to astonishingly high levels of pollution in the cruise ships surrounding and also in their immediate vicinity. One study found that air quality on the upper deck of a cruise ship is similar to that of the world's most polluted cities. Health impacts from exposure are numerous and are complicated by the cruise ship industry generally or their client base. Cruise ships are most popular among those aged 65 plus.
Okay, great. Repeat this word after me. Vicinity.
Vicinity.
Immediate vicinity.
Immediate vicinity.
Vicinity means like area. It's like a location. Okay, so your immediate vicinity is your close surroundings. It's what is near you. Okay, so if you have a shop beside your house, then you can say there's a shop in the immediate vicinity of my house. So it's what's close to you. Okay, repeat this word after me. Numerous.
Numerous.
Numerous. Good.
Numerous.
Numerous. Numerous means many. Okay, it's like numbers, but it means many. So numerous people means many people, or numerous examples means many examples. Okay. All right. So Chani, in this case, your Rose, what are you doing?
I'm I'm enjoying several of activities in the upper deck of the ship.
You're really seeing the positive, right? Okay, you got me laughing, Chani. Sure. So I would add a piece to that, Chani. So I would say I'm enjoying the activities on the upper deck. So let's say here you are, you're in the upper deck of the Titanic. You're enjoying playing a little bit of badminton, maybe. And what you should be seeing, Chayani, as well, is that you're holding your hand over your mouth because you're coughing. Okay, there's all that smoke coming out of the chimneys of the Titanic and all this pollution coming out, and you're like having fun, but you're going because you know, there's a lot of pollution that's happening. It says that, right, that's got terrible air on the upper decks. You should see that. You should actually see yourself coughing. Okay.
Okay.
So this paragraph is not about the positives. It's not about you having badminton. So don't get lost in don't get lost in the movie, obviously. But you should see the negatives. Like there's all this garbage falling off the boat while you're playing badminton, and you're coughing. So you're having an issue here. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right, that's what you should see. All right, Chayani, thank you so much for reading, and yeah, maybe put Titanic on the to watch list for this week, right? If you haven't seen it in a
All
while.
right, sir. Sir, I have a question.
Go for it.
How to improve my speed of reading for in a short time?
Okay,
So from slow to the fast.
Okay, so first of all, it's important that you know that you don't need to read faster to in the IELTS exam to answer the questions in the 20 minutes. Okay, so the speed that you were reading is absolutely fast enough. In fact, it's more than fast enough. So if you're reading this fast, you can read the passage in 6 minutes. That means you have 14 minutes to answer questions. That gives you about an average of 1 minute per question. That's more than enough. Okay, they say that on average you should have about 30 to 40 seconds for a question. You have about twice that amount of time. So here it's not the speed of your reading, but it's the comprehension. Okay, so it's making sure that you understand what you're reading. So that's what you want to focus on much, much more. Now, to increase your speed, Chayani, the trick is to push yourself to read faster. Okay, so you want to read at an uncomfortably fast pace, and eventually your brain and your reading mechanism will start to increase. Okay, so for instance, like you're going like this. While the economic advantages of the cruise ship industry are obvious, there are no negative associated with the foremost among these environmental impact. For example, a person's footprint. So I'm pushing myself and I'm tripping up on words and I'm pushing myself to read faster than my head is able to. And eventually my eye starts to catch 2-3 words at the same time. Okay. But again, that's not a skill that you necessarily need for the IELTS. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, there's like some of the impacts, benefit or disbenefit for reading faster. For me, like reading faster, it is saving time, so I can have a rest of the time to check it the answer. While for the reading fast, it is hard for me to understanding what is the whole paragraph, and also it is hard for me to visualize what this paragraph is talk about.
I still suggest, so there are a lot of candidates out there like you who have this same thought, and they think that if I read faster it's going to be better. I politely disagree. Okay, and this is based on a lot of learning that I have done in psychology. Our brains don't work like that. Okay, so you still want to focus more on your comprehension rather than your speed. Okay, because with your speed, you still have lots of time to go back and reread a few sentences and a few paragraphs if you need to. Okay, you should not be reading the same paragraph or the same passage 3-4 times. That's not the right way to do it. Let me give you a good example of this, okay, that everybody can kind of connect with or relate to. I bet that you have gone from one place to another place, like one city to another city, by car or by train, right? And cars and trains are fast. So you're looking out the window of the car, you're looking out the window of the train, and you see some stores, or you see like a field, or you see a mountain, and your eye is able to catch it. It's like, oh, there's a mountain. Oh, there's a big shopping mall. Oh, there's a big building that I just went by, right, Chani?
Yeah, right, sir.
Okay, now you make the same trip on a bicycle, right? So you go from that one city to the other city on a bicycle. Okay, do you see more or do you see less along the route than when you're going by car or by train?
By car, both by car and train, I see lots of the buildings that appear.
Do you see more or less if you go on a bicycle?
It is less.
Wrong. It is more. Why?
Oh.
Because you're slower. So when you go by bicycle on the same route, you're going to notice that, oh, that mountain has a little cabin on it. That's interesting. I didn't see that when I was going with the car because I was going too fast. But now that I'm going slower on the bicycle and I look at the mountain, I can see the cabin that's there. I never noticed it before, right? And then when we go by foot, we see even more. We're like, oh, that cabin has an interesting little statue in the window I never saw before because I had to look at it for minutes to recognize that that's a little statue or in front of it or a little water fountain, right? So the slower you go, the more you see, generally speaking. Are you following me?
Oh, yes. Okay, I'm confused about that.
All right.
Now I understand.
Same principle applies in reading comprehension. Okay, oftentimes we go too fast. Now we think that, oh, if I go really fast 2 or 3 times, I'm going to see more. And again, it's wrong. So if I take that journey with the car or with the train 2 or 3 times, I still will not see the cabin and I still will not see the statue. Okay, people think they will, but they don't. And this happens in life always when, people are driving to work and they've driven 10, 20 times, right? And then one day they have to walk because there's road construction or something is happening and they have to walk. And then they walk to work and suddenly they realize that all these years they never noticed that there's a interesting little souvenir shop on their way to work, right? That's been there for years.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, so the brain processes more when it's given a chance, right? So we have to give it that chance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, Adrian.
Okay, so think about that when you're practicing your reading, okay?
Okay, sir. I will keep that in mind.
All right. Okay, Chani, thank you so much. Great questions, by the way. Have an awesome rest of your day.
Okay, thank you, Adrian. See you next time.
Okay, bye, Chani.
Bye.
Okay, that was Chayani. All right. So careful about that. Thumbs up to Chayani. That was a really good question, right? Okay. All right. Let's jump into it. Fuang hasn't had a chance in a while either, so let's give Fuang a chance. Are you ready? We definitely want to make sure that our regular students are rewarded with regular exercise. So let's take a look. Fuang, if you're hanging out, let me know. Premium students and members, Constellation, I see you there as well. It's good. Fuang is one of our longest time members. Hi, Fuang. I am not hearing you. I'm not sure what happened there. Fuang, I'm going to try to circle back to you. I'll find somebody else. If there's issues with the system, I'll just restart the system, but maybe check on your end what's going on. Okay, I cannot hear you, but don't give up. Okay, you know that we can make a connection. We've done it lots. All right, let me jump to Constellation here, one of our newer members. Constellation, are you ready? Now, hopefully we're still able to make a good connection here.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Constellation. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Good, thank you. Good. Constellation, if I remember correctly, you are in Vietnam, right?
Yes.
Okay, it's because Phuong is also there, so that makes sense. That okay, it works for you. It should work for her as well, theoretically. So Phuong, check your system. Maybe refresh the page. Shift refresh. Okay, Constellation. Let's jump into it here. You are on to paragraph E. Whenever you're ready, you should see it come up here pretty quickly. Go ahead and start reading.
Yes. Cities like Dubrovnik in Croatia, which has a population of about 40,000 people, can see its numbers swell by over 15% with the visit of up to 5 cruise ships in the town at one time. This results in a crush of tourists in the old and scenic part of the town, and the displacement of culture in favor of shops and services that cater the foreign tourist. While proponents of the industry claim that cruise ships bring economic prosperity to communities like Dubrovnik, critics say that the local culture is being hollowed out by the economic pressures associated with the industry. One particular example is the loss of local cuisine in Old Town, Dubrovnik. Instead of featuring Croatian specialties, restaurants offer nondescript Western food such as pasta, pizza, hamburgers, and other dishes familiar to Western European tourists.
Excellent. Okay, this is a very visual paragraph, right? It's basically an example of a cruise going to a specific city. So hopefully here, Constellation, you see yourself as that unique tourist like Rose, or wealthy tourist, or a captain on the ship, or that salsa instructor, and you are actually in Croatia, in Dubrovnik, but you're eating, pepperoni pizza in this town, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so keep that in mind. Keep going. Read paragraph F.
One other key impact of cruise ships is their health impact on their own guests. Cruise ships can act as incubators for disease. Among the most common conditions on cruise ships is the norovirus, which is massively contagious and can affect a large percentage of cruise ship passengers in a short time. With so many people so close together, cruise ships are a heaven for germs, both bacterial and viral.
Okay. Again, this one's fairly easy to visualize, right? It's about catching, some kind of pathogen, like a bad flu on the cruise ship. That's why one of the first industries to shut down when COVID hit was the cruise ships, right? So here, again, you're the captain and you're coughing, sneezing, and you came down with this bad cold. Now here, notice something interesting. So paragraph D, we have environment. Paragraph E, we have culture. And paragraph F, we have health. So the author did a really good job of introducing these topics kind of at the beginning and saying, well, the negatives include environment, culture, and health, right? And here, the author takes a paragraph to describe each of these. It's no surprise, so always pay attention to the structure, okay?
Yep.
All right, Constellation, G, read the conclusion for us here.
Yep. In summary, the cruise ship industry is complicated. It has clear benefits, positive economic impacts for its employees and ports of call, but it also has clear negatives: environmental destruction, cultural losses for ports of call, diseases on board, and negative health impacts from its air pollution. If given the opportunity, should you go on a cruise? The answer is up to you, but it is clear you should take into account all of the impacts, both positive and negative, the industry has.
Okay, good. So the author here very nicely kind of sums up all of what we just read. And also, as in a good conclusion, and this is important, we'll be doing task 2 writing in the next class, a good conclusion has a message. It's like the moral of the story. All children's stories have these morals, like don't go walking in the forest alone type of idea. So what's the message here? What's the take-home message for the reader?
For reader, I think that they need to consider the pros and cons of cruise ship before they decide to go to take a trip or not.
Why do you think that is, Constellation? So why do you think the author ends on that note?
Actually, I don't know, but...
Well, okay, so empathy, right? This whole concept of visualization that we've been talking about, what we're really doing is creating empathy. And somebody in the chat at the very beginning, I can't remember who it was, which one of my members, they said this. They said you need to be empathetic in reading to be an active reader. And it's very, very true. Empathy is extremely important. So I think when a lot of us think about cruise ships, like Constellation, if I said to you, hey, Constellation, I've got a couple of free tickets for a Caribbean cruise. You want to go? What's your first response?
Maybe if I don't know about the negatives, I said yes.
Yeah, you'd be super excited, right? You'd be like, yeah, let's do it. It's going to be a party. Woohoo, right? Of course. So that's, most people have this very positive kind of concept of going on a cruise where you're on this beautiful big boat and you're going to these places and you're having a party and every day is just awesome. And a lot of that is, I'm sure, true, right? But we tend to forget about the negatives that are associated with it. And I think that's what the goal of the author that's the goal of the author here, is like, it's giving us a more complete picture of the cost benefit of this type of tourism, right? So I think that's where it's going. All right, let's jump to the questions here, Constellation. I'm gonna keep with you here for a moment just to really get us into the flow of thinking that you want to have when you're reading. Go ahead and read question 28, which is matching paragraphs. So we have to figure out where this information is coming from. Okay, go ahead and read 28 as soon as you see it on your screen.
Okay, 28. Statistic concerning the increase in tourists during the cruise ship season.
Okay, good. So what do you think? Which paragraph contains this? So what's the statistic that we're talking about here? What does statistics mean?
Data, like number.
Mm-hmm. Which paragraphs had data or numbers?
Paragraph E.
What was it about?
It's about the number of people.
How many?
I don't know. 40,000 people.
Smart, Constellation. Very good. Yeah, you just read it, right? That was the one. So statistics concerning the increase in tourists during cruise ship season. There was also another number. Do you remember that one? It was 40,000.
I remember like
Mm-hmm.
the profits or the revenue.
It
like
was the
billions
number.
pounds.
It wasn't that, because that's the revenue, right? Here it's the increase in tourists. So pay careful attention, not the increase in money. Increase in tourists. So it was 40,000. Let's see if somebody else caught it in the chat before I spoil it. And it said that in this town, because it was, I actually visualized this very much. Like, you have this town, people are like, ooh, we're having a good time. And then cruise ship season starts, and suddenly the town is like, boom. How many? How many more people are in this town? There was another number in that example. Anybody catch it? It was good. I mean, you don't have to have this level, but when you're band 9 in the IELTS, you should get both of these. Yeah, very good, Chayani. Chayani says it's swelled over 50%. So you're right. Two numbers, 40,000 people and swells by over 50%. That was the other statistic there, Constellation. Okay, so that town, it becomes almost like a third bigger, let's say. Okay.
Yep.
So paragraph E. All right, Constellation, thank you so much for volunteering and reading. And you're doing fantastic coming back to these classes and participating regularly. You're on the right path, so that's really good, okay?
Yep.
All right, we'll talk again soon, Constellation. Hang in there for the next class too, okay?
Yeah, see you soon.
Okay, bye, Constellation. All right. Okay. Let me just refresh. I'm going to shift refresh the page, Phuong, and then hopefully you're here. Everybody shift refresh. There's Phuong again. Okay. Phuong, are you ready? Here we go. And so on the questions, I don't need to spend too much time. We'll explain them a bit. But the reason why is because when you have good comprehension, it's clear. The information is clear and it's structured in your head. Okay. I don't know what's going on here, Phuong. Let me just try to shift refresh one more time here. Okay. All right. Phuong, let's do this one more time. Are you ready? Okay. All right. Hi, Phuong. I still don't hear you. It just could be a local internet issue. Not a big deal, Phuong. Try again next time, okay? I'm pretty sure it must be. So, no, unfortunately, I can't hear you, Phuong. And as you can tell, the system's good on my end. So it's got to be something on your end, okay? All right. Let's see. Who else wants to give this a shot? Members, if you're in there, let me know. You got to ping me. I don't want to just cold call you. Cold calling means like just... Okay, obviously Palu wants to volunteer. Palu, you need to contact me first, like Gopu. See how Gopu has that little number 1 there, Palu? You got to try it that way. Okay, don't cold call me either. All right, Gopu, are you ready? Okay. I'm guessing yes, since you just messaged me. Yeah, okay.
Hey, Professor.
Hi, Gopu. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How about you, sir?
I am doing quite well also. Okay, Gopu, cruise ships. Let's get into it. Let's answer some questions.
Surely.
Okay. Number 29. Go ahead and read that when you get the chance.
The decline of local culture in favor of homogeneous items.
Homogeneous items. Yep.
Homogeneous items. Okay. Homogeneous items. Yes.
All right. So, loss of culture in favor of homogeneous items. What are those homogeneous items?
I think I heard these things I think it is in the second passage. I'm sorry, paragraph.
All right, let's check it out. So the economic impact of cruise ship industry is immense. In 2017, it accounted for roughly 100 billion pounds in economic activity. No, this is about the economy, so it's nothing there. Okay.
The other one. See.
That's about
No.
pollution, carbon footprint, nothing there either. Okay, so this is where we kind of get into trouble.
Yeah.
Remember what I said about the structure and visualizing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Read this for me here in paragraph E, one particular example.
hmm From E, right?
Yep, you're going to see it here in a second, and I'm highlighting it for you. So read from there.
One particular example is the loss of local cuisine in Old Town Dubrovnik.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of featuring Croatian restaurants offer
Specialities.
specialities.
Mm-hmm.
Restaurants offer nondescript Western food such as pasta, pizza, hamburgers, and other dishes familiar to Western European tourists.
Okay, so it's definitely E, right? Loss of local culture. Now, here's
Yes, yeah.
okay, so it's E. So here you have an interesting situation where the answer to 28 is E and the answer to 29 is E. And, some people are like, well, the IELTS is trying to trick me. And no, it's not. They tell you. They said, no, by the way, you may use any letter more than once. When I did my IELTS exam in this kind of a question, I had two answers that had the same paragraph. And sometimes you can even have it like this, where it's right after one after the next. So E and E. Okay.
Specifically to make us confused or
No, not
Right.
to make you confused. That's not the goal. The goal is to see who is actually reading and who is just trying to skim and scan or trying to use tricks and not read. Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
some students think, oh, I'm just going to skim read for homogeneous items. That looks like a tricky word. I can just find this tricky word. It's not in the passage. Okay. The homogeneous
yeah.
items are actually it just means similar items like pizza, hamburgers, French fries that you find in a lot of different places.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Decline of local culture is loss of local customs or the hollowing out of the culture. So they don't have this exact information. The reason
They're
why
mentioning the food.
yeah. And the reason why Gopu is because the people who made the IELTS said, hey, we need to know who is actually a band 8 and a band 9. And a band 8 or a band 9 means a person that can read information, understand it, interpret it, and use that information. It's not a person who can play matching words between questions and the text. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
they're not
Yes.
trying to trick you. Okay, the IELTS isn't this evil organization that's like, "Whoa, let's trick the people in the world about English and reading." So that's not, they're not this secret evil organization. That's not their goal. It's your job to be a critical reader. Okay, so
Yes.
so just read critically. Okay. All
Sure.
right. Let's do number 30. Go ahead.
The advantage for travelers taking a cruise.
Okay, good. What are the advantages for taking a cruise?
Um, uh, oh my God.
If you're on a cruise
recollect.
ship, what kind of
Yeah. I can see beautiful sceneries, how luxury foods. Um,
Very good. Yeah, you can see like 6 different countries in one trip. Where was that? What paragraph?
no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So sorry.
Beginning, middle, or end?
I think in the end.
Where did you see it?
thing in the
Where were we visiting Domenico in Sicily?
yeah, my friends saying A
Yeah, in the beginning, right? So this
the beginning.
passage, so this passage is very much organized in here's the positive, but here's all the negative, right? So
Right.
the author very cleverly captures the reader by creating empathy, saying, hey, cruises are fun. We all know that. Cruises are fun, right? But they also have negatives. So it's a very, very good piece of writing in this case, right? It's well structured. So here, A. For example, a guest aboard a Caribbean cruise may visit more than a half dozen countries in a single cruise. So definitely A, right? It opens up with that. So make sure to apply the logic of the writer. Okay, if you're writing this passage, it makes sense to
Yeah.
tell people about the good first. Oh, here's all the good, but here's all the bad, right? So, okay. 31. Go ahead and read that.
Okay. The productive advantages of the industry.
Good or bad?
Advantages.
Productive advantages. Good.
Good.
Where are we
Definitely
going to
good.
see it?
Yeah. In the beginning? Of course.
Absolutely. Right? See, when you have logic and when you visualize, then the logical pieces are coming together. You suddenly realize, like, oh, this isn't that hard at all. I just need to have good thinking, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so which paragraph?
Productive advantages, right. I think in C. Yeah, C.
Go a little earlier.
B. All right. Yeah, okay, you already mentioned that. B. It's B.
Right? It's all that money. Remember Chayani throwing her bags of money around everywhere she goes?
Right.
That's the productive advantage. See, visualization, right? Like when I'm doing these classes, I actually remember the visualization of other people as well. So,
I don't know, sir. I don't know. If I am having the short-term memory issue.
no, you're not
I
having
forgot.
no, you're not having. Stop watching too many reels on Instagram. No,
No,
but
no.
or too many YouTube shorts. Watch the long videos on YouTube. So no, you're not having short-term memory problems, Gopi. Your memory's fine, I think, from what I can tell. So what you want to do, one good kind of exercise, and this is for everybody who's watching, join a book club. There are internet book clubs. There are local book clubs. You go to a book club, and I know people think it's for like 70-year-old people who are retired to join a book club, but that's just an assumption. Book clubs are a very good way to improve your reading comprehension, because you know what happens in a book club, Gopu? Like what a book club
No.
actually does. Okay, so what a book club does is a book club chooses a book to read. Everybody sits down and says, okay, let's read this book. Okay, and there are lots of different, like on the internet, you can find now book clubs that are in your interest field, right?
Oh,
so
right,
if
right.
you're interested in, let's say, engineering, you can find a book club for engineers. And then what they will do is, like, they will say, okay, everybody read this book on engineering in this month. And then at the end of the month, we'll have like a Zoom chat or a meeting, and we'll talk about the book, right?
Okay.
And then everybody gets together and talks about the book, about what they visualized, how they saw it, how they understood it, and they discuss it. What were the the good pieces. It's a great way to practice reading. Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Book club. All right. Okay.
Right.
32. Gopu, go for it.
Yep. The ethical question facing prospective the ethical question facing prospective cruise ships rider.
Okay. What's the question?
The last, without doubt, the last paragraph, I think.
Absolutely, Gopu. It's G, right? It's the conclusion. It's
Right.
like, should I go on a cruise ship? Shouldn't I go on a cruise ship? I got to think about it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
That one I remember. That paragraph is
That one I
pretty
remember.
pretty easy.
It's the last one, so hopefully,
Yeah.
yes, Gopu. All right, Gopu.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with your brain. It works just the way that it's designed. It's a supercomputer, unlike any other.
Right.
Okay, it's literally a quantum computer. So it is incredibly powerful. It can process passage no problem. You just have to know what the correct input is, what the correct process is, right? You have to train it for that. So Gopu,
Absolutely.
read, visualize, structure. Okay.
Right.
All right, Gopu, thank you for volunteering, and I hope to see you in our writing class coming up in 30 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Surely, sir.
All right.
I'm also waiting for it.
Awesome. Bye,
Thank you, sir.
Gopu.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay, that was Gopu. Let's give Gopu a thumbs up. Everybody, as you can tell, having too much fun. I've run out of time, but that does not mean you should not answer these questions. So here's the paragraph completion, and then here's the multiple choice. Next time we do a reading, I'll focus more on these types of questions. What's most important is that you understand strategy, and you should be able to answer these now that you know about them. So 37 is, what is the share of air pollution in port cities? I don't know. I think it was 10%, 20%, maybe 30%. But you know what? I know where the information is coming from. Why? Because of the previous questions and my visualization. I know that pollution was somewhere in those last few paragraphs where the author talks about culture, right? Pollution, and so they talk about the environment, the air quality, then they talk about the loss of local culture, and then they talk about the health. That's right, the virus and the bacteria. So remember, it was those 3 paragraphs before the conclusion. So if I go backwards, right, then it was G, F, and then E, and then D, right? So I know that it's kind of going to be D here for me. Okay, and look how fast I can find that. Why? Because I know where I'm looking, right? Why do I know where I'm looking? Because the information and the visualization is organized in my head. It was Chayani playing badminton and coughing as Rose on the ship, right? So I know that it's 10%. So the correct answer here is 1/10. Okay, not 10, because there's no percent there. It's 1/10. 1/10 is a paraphrase for 10%. Okay, everybody. So coming up in less than half an hour now. We've got. These are general IELTS, by the way, that I'm looking at here. So we've got task 2 writing coming up. Okay. And we'll go through a full essay, introduction, body paragraphs, conclusion. And in the break, in the half hour, visit the websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS. We've got 6 full practice exams there for you. And gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. We've got 6 full practice exams for you there as well. Again, the websites, they look like this on the main page. And just click that big red button, join the premium version, and for general IELTS, it's the green big red button there. Click it, you're good to go. Members, thank you so much. Viewers, you're all awesome, and I hope to be back here, or I hope you're back here with me in 25 minutes for task 2. It's going to be an interesting and provocative question. Thank you, Gopu. Thank you, Alexi, Fuang, Lydia, Chayani, Constellation. I'm signing out for now, but I'll be back soon. Bye, everybody.